I said, Janeway wasn't awful. I mean, she had a lot of really fantastic episodes, and I loved it when her and Chakotay butted heads. But like, they got Chakotay wrong also. You know what I mean? So I don't know.
In a way, Kira was kind of female captaining.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because she was in charge in a way.
And she was pretty young. Now that I think
right.
about it,
You're
that's
right.
very interesting.
She had the right attitude, though.
She did. Well, and keep in mind that at the end of the show, she's commanding the space station.
Exactly. So in a way, I guess she was a sort of a captain. Yeah, and she was always decisive. And
yeah, exactly. And that's what you need. But the thing is, you bought her in a command role because that's what she had done.
That's right. That's right.
She had other interests, but that's what she'd done. I mean, she did. You know, she was commanding that unit during the occupation, and she knew how to do that. But she didn't have to be in wartime also to like do a good job. You know.
Right. She was decisive without necessarily being hot-headed. Although sometimes emotions did cloud her decisions.
Yeah, well, and I mean, you know how I feel about Kira. I like Kira more and more as the series progresses. I mean, I hated her at the beginning, and I loved her by the end. And you know, the first couple seasons, I thought that she was just too brassy for no good reason. Not that she didn't have a reason, just that even though I knew what the reason was, it still kind of seemed like it was for no good reason.
We didn't see enough of the reason. If
exactly.
you hadn't watched all the Ins and Row episodes from TNG and extrapolated that onto Kira, you didn't understand why she was behaving the way she was.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. No, Michelle Forbes, she'd have been a rockin' captain.
Maybe.
She was in Battlestar.
Was she?
Yeah.
See, I didn't see any of that part of Battlestar, and I need to get there and do that.
Standalone Razor, you could do it.
Yeah? Okay, I'll do that. She's another one of those characters that I liked her more and more as it went along. I hate her first episode. I mean,
really, I liked her right away.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, but see, you like Bajorans, and it always took me a while to warm up to them. Like, I used to be kind of
next best thing to Vulcans.
I used to be kind of anti-Bajoran, and now I'm not. You know, I mean, I like them now a little bit more, but I had to get through all of DS9 before I.
Hey, what about a female captain of a whole other species? I mean, maybe not even superhumanoid.
What do you mean?
That could be fun. Well, you know, I mean, somebody with, you know, a lot of prosthetics on.
Yeah, right.
Maybe a Horta.
right, the female Horta captain, right. Well, you know, we had that one first officer on Tranship in Enterprise that was female, and I liked her a lot.
I liked her pretty well too. I wish I could remember her name. I think it started with the B.
I don't remember, but she was neat. Yeah.
Susie Plaxon is another one who could have played rockin' female captain.
Could have, yeah. And by the way, do you think she was miscast as the female Q? Because I do.
I would have to say yes. Of her 3 Trek roles, that was definitely not.
Now, she was Kaylor in TNG. Who was the other one?
She was a militant Andorian in, oh gosh, which Enterprise episode was it?
She was also a female Andorian? Really?
She was an Andorian.
I don't remember that.
Not his girlfriend, but there was...
Well, the girlfriend's the one I'm talking about.
Yeah, that was, right. But no, she was in another episode where they're down on the planet and Saval gets suckered in and they try to kidnap Saval.
Mm-hmm.
You remember that episode?
Yeah. And
she's actually the one, she lies to Shran and sneaks around and does stuff that she's not supposed to and then gets caught by Shran.
I didn't realize that was her. I didn't notice
that's
it.
her. Anytime in Trek there's like a 6-foot woman,
it's going to be Susie Plaxon. Oh, she's gigantic. She's ginormous. She's so tall.
But she had that same she could have done it. So much of it's about presence and authority.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, would you say that that Trek on like what is their par for having strong female characters? What would you say? Just female characters in general. Like, is Trek good at this? When you compare it to other shows, is it bad at this? Is it kind of like sometimes it gets it right, sometimes it doesn't? Because I think it kind of depends on the series.
I think sometimes right, sometimes does. I mean, TOS you can't really count because it was a product of its time, and for its time, it had, as weird as it seems from our present perspective,
sure. For
its time, it had strong female characters.
And to be fair, its main characters, none of them were female. I mean, to be fair, I mean, that show was about a triad. That show was about Kirk, Spock, and McCoy, and it had female characters, but it was rarely ever about them. And so, even if they occasionally got good, strong women and they managed to do that, it wasn't so important that it had like a strong woman who was in every episode because it wasn't really about, it was about this triad of 3 guys. So.
Well, and of course, there are other ways there are all kinds of ways to be strong.
Oh, sure, right.
So I would say that, say, Guinan is
Sure.
a strong female character.
Absolutely.
You know?
I wouldn't want to see her as the captain of a starship, but but
she
no,
could be the
she's
captain of my starship. But
no.
at any rate,
She was an excellent female character.
So yeah, overall I would say yes. I mean, there are people like Troy, you know, that not always.
Didn't always quite work out.
Always work.
I think TNG probably had it worst of all of them besides Guinan. I mean, I'd say
I
that
agree.
like Troy didn't work, and Crusher always grated on me. Like, she was always irritating.
I liked her okay, but she wasn't in any way really leader-like, or, you know.
DS9 probably did it the best.
Yeah.
Because, you know, they had Kira, and Dax was often really good, too.
Yeah,
So.
yeah, I agree.
And Voyager, it depends on the episode, but I mean, I like Torres. It just depends on the episode.
Well, Voyager is the one that's trotted out as the strong woman show.
Right, so it's got more women.
But
anyway.
I didn't really see it that way in a lot of ways, because you know, 7 never really worked for me, and I was iffy
We
about
could do a whole
Torres.
show on 7 because you and I butt heads completely on that.
Yeah, so I don't know.
There's a lot of things I like about 7 or 9. I mean, they didn't always write it right, but they didn't always write anybody right, you know.
We know that Enterprise was not the best.
Right. What's irritating, especially, what's really irritating about Enterprise is that Hoshi Sato is my favorite character on that show, and she...
Really?
Yes. She's nearly there. She's nearly my favorite character. Maybe next to Phlox, because I like Phlox a lot, because Billingsley tears it up in a lot of episodes.
He does.
But Hoshi Sato, maybe it's just Linda Park is a cool actress for me. Maybe I just liked her performance. But I mean, they never gave her anything to do. But if they had, she probably would have been my favorite character on that show.
Yeah, I could see that.
She wasn't annoying.
Clearly, the missed opportunity there was Jolene Blaylock.
Yes.
That's very sad. Because
Yeah.
that could have been just rocking character.
What do you mean? I mean, do you just mean that that's who they cast and that's why it was bad? Or?
Well, and that wasn't, obviously, it wasn't all her fault. It was partly writing.
No, it wasn't all her fault.
That
she doesn't have all bad episodes. There are episodes where she's doing better than T'Pol is, if that makes sense. Where
I agree.
The actress is doing some decent stuff and it's still not quite written right. Like Twilight, not the sparkly vampires, but Twilight is a great episode.
Twilight's a good episode.
And it's all about her, so we have to give her some props because it's a good episode. Well, it's about Archer also, but...
This is true. And I love that whole Vulcan trilogy. And she's kind of all about that,
I like it too, but a lot of the reason that her character didn't work, and of course, you know, I couldn't see her being the captain of a starship, but anytime she took over, everything fell apart. You notice how many times, like Archer would get kidnapped, and T'Pol would take over, and then everything falls apart. That's not an accident, you know what I mean? Like her, she didn't make sense.
You also have an alien trying to tell a whole shipload full of
humans.
Yeah, what to do, which,
That's fair, but I think a lot of it also has to do with simply, you can't have your cake and eat it too on this. You can't have a character who is both a major command officer and a Vulcan and the sex symbol of the show.
Right. Yeah, that was the disconnect right there. Yeah, you're probably right about Jolene Blaylock. I think I probably owe Jolene Blaylock a little bit of an apology. Just a little bit.
Maybe just a little bit, although I still don't like her all that well as an actress, but she's got some points where she shines.
It wasn't her fault that she was horribly miscast.
I think Billingsley rubbed off on her.
Okay. Maybe so.
Because I can't think of any other actor in that show that's good enough to rub off on her and make her better, so that's the only thing I've got.
Yeah, or maybe she went to conventions or something.
And somebody came up to her and said, I know this is going to sound weird, but maybe acting lessons.
Or hey, when the ship is supposed to shake, this is how you do it.
Yeah,
you know?
right. If it goes one way, you should not also go that way.
Maybe.
Well, we're out of time.
That's probably good.
Thanks a lot for watching Ask the Treksperts. I'm Captain Logan.
And I'm Commander L.
And we'll do this again. Okay. Absolutely. Thanks for being on the show.
All right. Live long and prosper, dudes and dudettes.
The best is yet to come.
The best is yet to come.
The best is yet to come. Come the day you're mine.